Have you ever taken a moment to just sit in a cozy cafe and mulling over whether to wrap your fingers around a warm, familiar cup of coffee or to venture for something different, like a little, I don't know, something like a zesty, bold chai? Oh, I do love me a nice chai. The sheer pleasure of the symphony of its spices. So good. I want one now. No, today's episode is not about chai tea or coffee for that matter, but our everyday little decisions of the heart and how they may seem rather insignificant, right? I mean, coffee or chai. But it's interesting how these simple acts of decision making, how they mirror those not so simple choices in our lives. And staying in the comfort of what we know, I'll have my regular 4-shot Americano, please, thank you. It has its charm, yet there's sometimes this magnetic pull towards the unknown. Like when I go to a new restaurant, I often leave my meal choice in the hands of the staff. I know, it's reckless, dangerous, it's adventurous. What would you order on a laid-back day off? I asked them. It's a gamble, but sometimes it actually pays off. Yet this dance between the comforting and the novel, it isn't really just about what we're eating. It's a reflection. It's almost a rehearsal of those bigger decisions in our lives, where our passions and our responsibilities sway us in different directions. Have you ever felt this way? I had a listener write and asked, what are you to do when you've committed your whole life to a passion and you're no longer passionate about it? Oh, great question. And it's one that we've probably asked ourselves quite often. It's a difficult balance, right? When passion and persistence start pulling us in different directions, our path suddenly starts to feel a little less straight highway and more like a winding road. It's like when you're on a seesaw, right? You're trying to find that sweet spot when you're not too high, not too low. You're just comfortably balanced right in the middle. And the same can go for our jobs, our relationships, our hobbies. They aren't just one-time decisions. They're more like gardens. We plant these seeds with excitement. We water them, and we give them dedication. But sometimes the colors that bloom, they're different than what we expected. Interestingly enough, when I was writing this episode, I came across this really interesting bit of information from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Try saying that 5 times fast. That the average person changes jobs 12 times during their career. 12 times. That's a lot of crossroads to navigate. Each twist and turn presents us with this delicate, fine line between staying committed to the familiar path that we've taken or the allure of chasing what sets our hearts on fire. So here we are at this crossroad where the comfort of yesterday mingles with the promise of tomorrow. Do you leap with both feet into the unknown, or do you find renewed interest, renewed wonder in the current path? Navigating these emotional pulls, especially during life's expectations and our own inner conversations that we have, how do we know? How do we know if we jump into the deep end or slowly put our toes into the water to see if it's too cold or, oh, this is actually quite nice? And this is such a full topic, a full conversation, that I've decided to break it up into 2 episodes. So this is part 1 of what I'm calling the crossroads of commitment. Passion versus persistence. Well, let's see how cold the water may be, or maybe not, as we journey through this together. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. Imagine for a moment you've always enjoyed painting, right? The swirls of color on canvas have always brought you peace and just really restorative. But recently, photography has caught your eye. The way that light plays with the lens and creating a story in a single frame, that's kind of left you enchanted. It's easy to do. And now every time you pick up a brush, you find your mind wandering to the camera that's gathering dust on your shelf. This right here is a crossroad of commitment. Am I oversimplifying this? Yes, I am. But you see my thoughts in this. Change is a natural part of any journey. Think about it. We've all felt that internal tug, urging us to try something new or explore a different path. Because life isn't just a straight road. It's filled with turns and detours and obviously surprising side streets. It's a lot like rivers that reshape landscapes, right? I mean, just as a river might change its course or join another stream to form a larger river, we also have the capacity to redefine our path based on our interests and those passions. And sometimes they change, sometimes they evolve. But the trick isn't never changing, but in being aware when change is needed. I'm going to say that again. The trick isn't in never changing, but in being aware of when change is needed. So how do we figure it out? If our feelings, are they restlessness, or is this just the passing clouds or signs of an incoming storm? I mean, is the grass greener, or is it just a filter on the photograph? Well, this is where a little quiet time comes into play, some introspection. And I'll go into this a little deeper, especially in the next episode, but is the change that we're contemplating, is it based on a fleeting whim? Or is it a genuine call from deep within? When we ask ourselves these questions without bias, which is really hard, we get closer to understanding what our heart really wants. And the space between sticking to what we know and venturing into what we don't know can be a roller coaster, right? There's nostalgia for the past and excitement for the future, all mixed up with a little bit of uncertainty. But here's the thing. In this mix, we actually discover ourselves. It takes a lot of courage to acknowledge these feelings and step into the unknown, to try something new while cherishing where we've been. Here, let's look at nature for a moment. Think about it. Trees shed old leaves to make way for new ones, right? I mean, seasons change, and with each one bringing its unique own beauty. And it's gorgeous every year. We look forward to it every year, right? Sure, the trees, for a season, once the leaves are gone, they seem naked. But nature teaches us that it's okay. It's okay to let go, to change, and sometimes to metaphorically be naked, to be stripped away of everything that we're familiar with, because it's going to evolve into something even more beautiful. Yet here's the question. How do we know? How do we differentiate between a fleeting fancy and a genuine call to change the direction? One of the ways I like to look at this is some introspection where imagine you're just sitting with your coffee or your chai, and you're just sitting quietly, peacefully by yourself, right? You're having some reflection time. You're having some introspection. And with your eyes closed, sitting there, ask yourself this. Why this? Why now? I'm going to say that again. Ask yourself, why this? Why now? And be honest with yourself. Sometimes it's just boredom with the routine, but other times it could be the heart signaling that there's a new chapter that's waiting ahead of you. There's this beautiful messiness and navigating between the old and the new. It's like cleaning out a closet, right? Memories and emotions, they tumble out when you're cleaning out this closet. Yet in that mess, there's this authenticity, this realness that's waiting to be embraced. It's where the brave ones dwell, the ones who dare to explore new realms while they're valuing their roots, what's in the closet. So you're probably wondering, okay, so how do we navigate this? Get to the point. I need some help. Come on, where's the answer? So, first off, we have to acknowledge the crossroad. Acknowledging the crossroad is key. It's okay to feel torn between old loves and new interests. That's normal. So acknowledge it. That's the first step. And it brings a smile to my face every time I get to say this, that this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. There was a time when I felt uncertain about where I was going in life and what the right path was. And sometimes in life, we're faced with these tough choices, and the path forward, it's not always clear. And so whether we're dealing with decisions around career or relationships or what kind of dog to get or anything else, believe it or not, therapy helps us stay connected to what we really want while we navigate life, so we can move forward with confidence and even excitement. Trusting ourselves to make decisions that align with our values is like anything. The more we practice it, the easier it gets. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient and flexible and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire, and you get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can even switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So really, let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/calmit, CALMIT. Visit there and you'll get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/calmit, CALMIT. Okay, getting back to acknowledging the crossroad, as this is the first essential step, admitting that there's a fork in the road of our journey. So, again, how do we acknowledge the crossroad? What does that mean? As I've mentioned, the first step is to acknowledge, or basically looking at it as acceptance. We may try to push away these feelings of restlessness or doubt, thinking that they mean weakness or inconsistency. But again, these feelings are natural. They can be signs of growth. They can be signs that you're growing, your ideas are evolving, that you are changing. So accept this, acknowledge, embrace this. Let yourself feel this way without judgment. This acceptance will allow you to approach the crossroad with a clear mind and open heart. And then the second step is some self-reflection. Once you've accepted the feelings, set aside some dedicated time for introspection. Journaling can be a powerful way of doing this, where you write down what you're feeling about your current path and the potential new one. What draws you to each? What fears or hesitations come up? This process can help clarify the nature of the crossroad and eliminate your desires and concerns. Again, writing this down on the sheet. Why this? Why now? Be honest with yourself. Write these down in a comparison of why this, why now, current path, and the potential new one. Next step, number 3, is to ask for feedback. Talk to trusted friends, some family members, or maybe some mentors about your feelings, especially if it's someone that has been where you want to be or where you are now. Right? Take wisdom from those that have stood at similar crossroads and ask them, what made you decide your path? Was there a turning point? They can offer some outside perspective that might shed light on this, some aspects that maybe you haven't considered. But I also want you to remember that while feedback is valuable, the final decision, it actually rests with you. Their path is their path. Yours is yours. Next step is to visualize the outcome. Spend a moment to close your eyes and visualize both paths. How does each make you feel? If you were to project yourself a year into each choice, what do you see? This imaginative exercise can actually provide some really incredible insight about where your heart and your intuition are leaning. And while the idea of something new or different may seem shiny, keep in mind the sacrifices that will take place in either direction, because there will be things that you have to lay down before stepping forward. Keep that in mind, but see yourself without judgment and try to best imagine without rose-colored glasses. Be honest. Be real. Next, I want you to embrace the present. While it's obviously important to consider the future, it's really important to remain grounded in the present. What are the immediate emotions and circumstances around this crossroad? I'm going to ask it again. What are the immediate emotions? How do you feel this very moment around this crossroad? Sometimes understanding the present context can really give some clarity about the right direction. Again, my mantra for this episode, asking yourself, why this? Why now? Diving deep into the current moment, it helps us feel and assess where we are. It helps us with this situation that we're in. And when we immerse ourselves in the now, we can better discern these whispers, if you will, of intuition from the noise of the external influences, right? Of what you're seeing your friends that may be there doing this, or the opportunities ahead. But immersing yourself in the now can really help discern from the whispers of intuition or the noise of the outside. And speaking of being present and addressing immediate needs, let's talk about something many of us push to the back of the burner. You guys know where I'm going, especially this time of year. Leaves fall, the schedules get crazy, and, a lot of things fall on the back burner, like food, like taking care of yourself, like eating. Because of that, sometimes my meals are more of a smorgasbord of what's left in the fridge and probably not so super nourishing. So instead of grabbing those random items left in your fridge, you can get delicious, quick, healthy, satisfying meals delivered right to your door with Daily Harvest. Daily Harvest keeps your stomach and your freezer full with options like fruit and veggie-packed smoothies, forager bowls, and lattes. They also have tons of options for any time of the day, like flatbreads, and soups, and again, harvest bowls. With Daily Harvest, you can get so many easy-to-prep options, so you don't even have to think about what you cook for your next meal. Plus, you can skip the shopping, the chopping, and post-cooking cleanup. By working directly with farmers, Daily Harvest secures the best ingredients and freezes them at peak ripeness to lock in that always in-season taste and just picked nutrition. What you see, believe it or not, is actually what you eat, and that is hard to come by. Keep yourselves and your freezer full with hassle-free meals from Daily Harvest. Go to dailyharvest.com/calm, CALM, to get up to $65 off your first box. That's dailyharvest.com/calm, CALM, for $65 off your first box. Speaking of filling our freezers and nourishing ourselves, it's important to also fill our lives with choices that nourish our souls, our aspirations. Which brings me to step number 6. Commit to exploration. Well, what do you mean? Well, acknowledging the crossroad doesn't always mean immediate action. Sometimes it means giving yourself permission to explore the new path while not entirely abandoning the old one. For instance, if you are considering a career change, it might involve taking a course or a workshop before making a full shift. Before fully committing, test the waters, put the toes in, see if it's warm or if it's cold. Find opportunities to be able to try what this new would be before abandoning what you are in at the moment. The next step, which is so important, especially for me, is to set a deadline. While it's super important to give yourself time, right? While it's super important to give yourself some time, setting a reasonable deadline can help prevent that endless pondering. Should I? Should I not? Should I? Should I not? What do I do? Set a deadline. Choose a date by which you'll make a decision. This ensures that you will remain proactive in your approach. It won't just be on the back burner and be like, oh yeah, I don't know where I am yet. But it puts a deadline to where you see it in front of you every day, and it really grabs your attention, and it begins to really make you proactive in your thought process. Next, embrace the uncertainty. This is really hard for some of us. It's natural to want guarantees and to want things that we know are sure, right? Assurances, right? But life rarely provides those for us. Sometimes acknowledging the crossroad, it means embracing the uncertainty. It means being okay with not having all the answers right away. And through time, you figure them out. But embrace the uncertainty, or at least be prepared for it. Maybe prepare yourself to embrace it. It's natural to want the guarantees. It is. But also, keep in mind, life rarely provides us a guarantee. So embrace it. Understand that is how it works. Acknowledging these crossroads, it means giving validity to your feelings. It's understanding the nature of the decision ahead and engaging in a process to find clarity. And let's be honest, it's a lot of self-awareness, it's a lot of courage, it's a lot of personal evolution, regardless of direction, regardless of the way you go. And even if you decide to stay where you are, your decision is a catalyst to engage with your present and to realize and appreciate the significance of where you are. Approaching with an open heart and an open mind, you ensure that whatever path you choose, it aligns with your truest self. Here, in closing, I want you to imagine for a moment a vast orchard. Amidst the colors of blossoming flowers and the enticing allure of fresh fruits, there stands a majestic oak tree. And this tree, with its sprawling branches and its deep roots, it's weathered countless storms, and it's enjoyed countless springs and watched seasons come and seasons go. And this oak is symbolic of the unwavering constants in our lives, the love of a lifelong partner, right? And the principles that have grounded us in our upbringing, and the selfless sacrifices of those who have been there for us, who've championed our cause, even when the path seemed rather challenging. As enticing as it is to chase the new, the novel, it's equally soul nourishing to pause and to lean against this sturdy trunk of the solid oak and to soak in its wisdom, the grooves and the textures of its bark. It tells tales of endurance, of silent support and unwavering love. These are tales not just of the tree, but also of our journey, right? Mirrored in its strength and resilience. In life, I mention it a lot, there's this tapestry where every thread has its role. And I don't want you to forget the importance of these anchors, right? They've been our shelter in some of the most fiercest storms, and our shade in the brightest sun. And as you venture forth, chasing dreams and embracing change, I want you to remind yourself to carry forward the lessons and the love that these anchors have given you. They're imprints, they're deep, and they'll always guide you, ensuring you to tread your path with grace, with gratitude, and an unwavering sense of self. Stay tuned for next week's episode as we go deeper into being able to trust your decision, which is really important as well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And join me again next time as we calm it down. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, see where I may be appearing in your area, or just simply want to know where to send me some chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. This podcast was written and produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized Sweet Tooth. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and not intended, nor should they, serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you, and you should only act upon the advice of this physician. Now, I'm an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this in future podcast episodes to aid those needs. So to find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review, or better yet, share it with a friend. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of mental and emotional health. Thank you for listening. Thank you for living. And until next time, be kind to your mind and join me again as we calm it down.